Hello. It has been a while, hasn't it? Since anyone has seen this face. And I think this is going to be probably one of the most necessary and most important videos I have to make. Besides the fact that I quit Open Hexagon a little over a week ago. That video has over 1,300 views, by the way, what the fuck. But this is going to be a very important video topic today, so in the meantime, while I'm talking about this, I'll also be playing some FTL Faster Than Light in the background while I discuss myself, and Super Animal Royale and the Pixile moderation in general throughout. Now, there's been a lot of coverage in the last several months of stuff developing as time has went on. And it is not only very disappointing, but also very concerning. And it's mainly to do with the community team at Pixile and, well, the community team at Pixile, part of this art community in general, and also the problematic people that was and will be discussed. Trust me, this is going to be a pretty long video. I'm not going to do any editing. I am not going to do any script. This is going to be 100% me. And for the first time, you'll actually get to see my fucking face and not, you know, a keyboard and mouse camera. For lack of a better visual on how I feel about it, and also the fact that you actually get to see a face behind the emotions and not some fucking hand cam bullshit. Because I think for once that this is actually very warranted. Besides, actually, the most recent time you guys even see my face was actually the Geometry Dash video on Backbeat Revenge. If you haven't seen that, well, it's very epic, happy, but if you like Geometry Dash and shit, go check it out. It was one of my only demons I've ever beat. So, yeah. Feel free to watch it. But anyways. Super Animal Royale. This has been a game that I've played for over 5 years now. January 11th of 2021. Pretty significant at the time, because around then I actually dealt with Open Hexagon drama, which drove me away from the game for a good while, and I found Super Animal Royale again after a couple of years of first seeing it and then thinking, oh, I needed to buy the game to actually get the full experience, and then didn't come back to that or even think of anything else. But there was basically a lot, even before I showed up, that ended up happening, which I ended up taking some of the brunt of the experience. So, for the most part, when I joined, like, that was when the game was actually starting to get a rise in popularity. Because we were starting to get players, and overall, like, the game was actually starting to get, like, pretty big. Like, the game actually did start to grow in 2021, and that was when the game was still in early access in Season 0. And overall, like, it seemed like I was joining a game that was starting to have quite a big amount of growth for its time. However, what I didn't know was basically the crazy behind it. That being F8 and Bamboo Club. Pretty much the most infamous community in history of Super Animal Royale. And one that people don't wish to ever see again. And many reasons. Because this paved the foundation for what was ultimately Pixile's eventual downfall. And unfortunately, it's only gotten worse and worse and worse and worse. And it's a bit of a shame because, you know, like, so many people, even me, I invested, right now as of this video, over 6,000 hours. 6,000 hours in 5 years. That's a lot of time investment, by the way. Like, that's not something to scoff at. That is pretty significant. And, you know, for a time, like, when I started playing, like, and this was back when I was still playing, like, an NA, and then I slowly shifted to EU around, like, the end of my first year playing SAR, I was already a level 1200 after, like, 10 months into the game. Which is a lot of levels for someone who just started playing SAR, especially when it was in its heyday. Like, when it actually got into its heyday. Again, that's not nothing to scoff at. Like, SAR went up to, like, what was it, like, over 2,000 peak players at one point? Or I think it might have been, like, 7,000, and then it was, like, over 2,000 average. Like, something like that. It was huge for its time. For a game whose audience is as small as it is, and unfortunately that was the biggest the game has ever gotten, which has eventually spiraled. But unfortunately, ever since then, nothing has really significantly changed besides, like, obviously the new seasons, some slight balancing changes here and there. Obviously, we had some new stuff added to the game, like Super 8, BCG, Dartfly, that kind of shit. But it didn't feel like too much was going on, especially because even now, like, the last 2 years was basically empty in Super Animal Royale because the developers were busy making Super Animal World, which was supposed to be this really big expansion that everyone was, you know, supposed to get excited, like, supposed to be hungry for that chance to play something so big, like, that we would eventually, like, get to see, get to experience, and we would actually be able to see, like, the entire map for once, instead of trying to traverse it in a pre-game lobby with nothing to do. Because for the most part, there really was nothing to do. It was just playing the matches as they were and just going day by day. Like, there was no social hub, there was none of this or that. It was just simple Super Animal Royale, match by match. And, you know, at some point, like, something had to change. And we had, of course, like, I obviously was introduced to competitive events, like, pretty early on, and, you know, the community was growing. Like, we had the community was growing big at the time. But on the backbone of all that, you also have your major negatives, which was the old community manager, Logan, and F8, the owner of, I think the server is defunct at this point and probably gone for good, Bamboo Club. This was the biggest community server that Super Animal Royale had to offer. And this was basically the main hub for competitive events. Now, yeah, having competitive events is great and all, but when you have one person who's trying to take control of just about every single event that anyone new and old was trying to host on their own and forcibly goes into their servers tells them, give me moderator server or I'm basically going to blacklist your ass and not advertise your events in my server or speak kindly about you unless you let me be the head control of your own server. And you can see where it's going. That's a big no-no. That's a big no-no in other communities. But in Super Animal Royale's case, F8 got to get away with it. And that was mainly because the community manager, Logan, he was actually in his own server. Go figure. But, and this is also confirmed because this was before my time, F8 already had beef and drama on him before I even started. And that already spells a lot of issues. When someone who's already problematic has this much power in a very small community, gatekeeps, and also has people that he had in his own moderation team doing some of his dirty work while he was basically being a paranoid schizophrenic 24/7. Because if you even so much just touched, breathed, or even dare looked in the same direction as a player that he did not like, bye-bye. You were gone, you were blacklisted, and you were ridiculed, hated, and probably exiled from the community, and you probably quit, deleted, and uninstalled the game for good. Because several players have ended up doing that before my time. And F8 continued to do so until 2022. Now, I know I shit on Pixile, like, for example, the Season 6 netcode update, because that was 1 year wasted coding that Clog did, and basically got completely reverted because it quite literally was fucking useless. And for the people that say, oh, the new netcode fucking worked great, you are delusional. Get off the weed, get off the lean, and get clean. Because, quite literally, that is the dumbest shit I had ever heard when it was out. And it was such a fucking mess. And it even had me quit the game. It was so bad of an update, I had to quit the game until they reverted it back. Because it was so fucking bad. Like, it doesn't even come close to any of the other updates the game has had that's been terrible. And that says a lot. But basically, even with F8 having copious amounts of players and community members reporting him to the devs, and Logan himself, because he was the community manager at the time, of F8 and his problematic behavior, blackmailing, and stalking, and the fact that he somehow was able to illegally obtain medical info from another player? Really? And by the way, I was the first player to be told about that. Now, I don't have the DMs with Melton anymore, but I was the first person, I think I was the very first person he ever told me about, because no one hated F8 more than probably me and a few others. But there were many people that did not like F8 either, who were actually decent people in the community and didn't have any problems with anyone else. It was just F8 in his fucking power-hungry man-child nature. Because F8 was in his 30s, and I bet he still is now, but he's probably in his mid-30s now that I think about it, based on how old he should be now at this point. But even still, the fact that Logan did nothing, that is a major red flag. And that is where the eventual downfall slowly starts to become more and more apparent. And trust me, it gets way worse. But more or less, F8 basically was like too powerful to stop, but also he could have been stopped. And he was liked by the troglodytes, all the troglodytes that were in his server fanboying over him and his shit, and did everything that basically he wanted to do, basically being his sheeple. And then you had the people who were like-minded, actually were pointing out the problems, trying to tell the developers and Logan himself that this person is a problem. And they did nothing. They did absolutely nothing to handle the problem. And by the way, when F8 finally did leave in 2022, the reason why was because the developers finally, after all those years of terror and torment, to give him shit. And the reason why wasn't for the harassment, it wasn't for the blackmail, it wasn't for the fact that you illegally obtained medical info and tried to blackmail another player for that to be leaked if you didn't do what he said. It was for fucking data mining the game for a future battle pass. Now, for reference, Season 3 was in April of 2022. So this was either Season 4 or Season 5 that he tried to leak. And the developers finally got on his ass when he finally was starting to do so. And they took away his CC. And that prompted F8 to go in a piss fit, bitch fit. And he left the SAR Discord, badmouth the developers, and was only seen one more time, like a year or so later, at random. One more stream, and then he basically disappeared. All of that? All of that came down to that? Are you fucking kidding me, Pixile? More importantly, are you fucking kidding me, Logan? You were in his own space where all of this was also being conducted in real time, and also some of it he did say openly in his own chat on Discord. And you did fuck all. You had at least a couple hundred players come to you or the other developers telling you, hey, this guy is a fucking problem. You need to do something about it. And they're like, no, he's fine, he's good. Fuck you, we don't care, we don't give a fuck. And the only reason he leaves is because you took away his CC for stripping the game. What a fucking slap in the face. A genuine slap to the motherfucking face. To not just me, to not just the other veterans of the community, but to everybody around you that's stuck around this long in this game, mind you. And this was the thanks we got? His CC being taken away and him finally leaving, not because of what he did to the community or to me or to other veteran players of the game like Dynaze. I don't know if he did anything with Dynaze, but I know he did stuff with not Blue Jay-Z. Let's see, there's me, not Blue Jay-Z, Hero, all of Vibe Crew. Like just a multitude of people. And that was the thanks we got on taking care of the problem. Which, by the way, did not really resolve shit because you let a problem fester for no fucking reason. And by the way, there was no transparency on any of this. Like, there was no transparency on why they weren't taking action or anything. So, I already hated Logan from the jump. Oh yeah, he also affected Doggett too, at some point. But it's like, what is the point of having a community manager if the community manager can't even do his own fucking job? And by the way, we'll get on the fact that Logan went to Bovine NSFW, but we're not going to get there just yet. Yes, I know, I just said that out loud, but you know what? Fuck it. I don't care. Because I've already openly voiced how I feel about Pixile. In general. In general. And we're only just getting to a small part. Because this shit... This is the kind of tea that you would hear when one of your friends just has this other friend that you know is batshit crazy and did something totally fucked up. But you know you gotta listen in on this story because it's too damn good to miss out. Oh yeah, it was that kind of story. It was that kind of story. And so... just... it literally was that kind of story you just could not fucking miss. Because, again... all this, what I'm going to say, like, it's so unbelievable, but yet at the same time, it's also fucking true. And being someone who's played the game as long as I have, I've seen, I have heard, I've even dealt with all this shit. To some degree. And it is so fucking annoying to have a team that does not care. Now, I can't say the entire Pixile team is the problem. It's mainly the ones who focus on the community. So, i.e. Logan and Katie, which is basically the big topic here, because they're the big two. They're the nefarious duo that basically hurt everyone's trust. In general, actually. Like, not just trust and, like, just being able to protect other players, but just to help the game in general. Because Logan already did a big fuck up for what he did with F8s in his era of time. But Logan's no longer the community manager nowadays, but he's still a part of the Pixile team in general. So that already, like, I don't know what he does now anymore, but, like, what does Logan do now that he stepped down from being a community manager and Katie's community manager now? What exactly does he do with this company now? Because I lost that in the fucking translation. Like, I lost that part of the subplot in fucking One Piece. Like, please tell me where the fuck that went. Or the fact that, you know, Pixile once actually did a whole community-wide event and then never did it anymore after that. And it was already a complete and utter shit show. And F8, by the way, was also trying to control that. Which is just classic psychotic behavior from F8. But once F8 finally left, like, it was just fucking Logan. It was just fucking Logan that was just left. But Logan had already put himself on the shit list of so many other players because of his lack of action, or rather inaction, to do anything. To the point that, like, no one really liked Pixile because of Logan in specific. Now, again, like I said, like, most of the other staff aren't really a problem. It's literally just the community people that are the problem here. But there's also another problem with the whole SAR moderation in general, because, and this also ties in with Katie, because Katie, who is also the community manager for today's SAR. Now, obviously, I left in 2023 at some point because I played a lot of Payday 2 in, like, Bloons Monkey City, which, by the way, I recommend playing both those games. Bloons Monkey City is just, like, if you're just bored and just want some random shit to do from a Bloons Tower Defense series, and, like, go ahead, feel free to play that. But Payday 2, it's Payday 2. Come on. But, I, like, stepped away from the game for a good while because, like, I was just I was just not feeling it. I was just not feeling it with SAR. And plus, I was still dealing with, like, you know, still being new to my job and everything. So at the time, like, all that stress, like, I was like, I'm just gonna stay away from SAR, because playing SAR after work quite literally was just too much of a stressor in my life. So I was like, to hell with it. I'm just gonna step away from the game for a good while and play something else, which is where Payday 2 and Bloods Mecca City came in, but also Hotline Miami 1 and 2. Although I think I got into it in like 2022, so like actually I was already playing both of those games for some amount of time. But when I came back, you know, I mean, this was around the time when I was in my South America server grinding era, so like I actually wasn't really around like NA or EU much at all when I had left. So like I just didn't focus too much on that part of the game, and I mainly was just out of the community by that point. So like I wasn't really around the community for the most part. However, when I came back, that's when I met Liquifusion and hence Sayets. And yes, you're gonna be very familiar with the name. But basically, I met Zayets through Liqua because I ran into Liqua randomly one night on a... Actually, no. It wasn't just ran into on a random night on SAR. It was because I was in the Open Hexagon Discord and he noticed I played the game. And so he messaged me out of the blue, you know, like, oh my god, you play SAR too? I'm like, yes, I've been playing it for like a good while. And so we got to talking, and, you know, I still went about my gameplay and shit, but he told me about his friend, Zayets. And Zayets, at the time, he hated players who had the wolf super animal skin because of, one, Selmex. And because of that, not only did that fuel his hatred, but also that fueled his drive to basically get revenge on him for all the shit that he did. And so, while that was going on, I didn't even know it because, again, I was away from the game for about a year. Came back, was just playing on my own. You know, that's when I eventually met those two. And that's where the infamous moment of me walk dodging Zayets's, I think it was, yeah, he was using the bow because he was so obsessed with bow in the beginning of his time playing in SAR. And pretty much I fucking walk dodged. I had a deagle in my hand and I fucking walk dodged him. But eventually, after several encounters, we eventually got talking on Discord. And after some time, he mentioned about a new community manager named Katie. Now, I didn't know Logan had stepped down because, again, I was well out of the SAR community at this point. Like, I stayed the fuck away. Like, even nowadays, like, modern SAR community is a fucking cesspool of psychopaths. Like, that SAR Discord is a fucking cesspool. Like, a mental asylum. It's not a mental rehab that I'm witnessing, it's a fucking mental asylum. Like, it is that fucked. And so, I was told about Katie, and I heard that, like, she actually is doing, like, actual moderation type of stuff. Now, before leaving, when I was in Logan's community manager era, and left for a year and came back, and I was into Katie's community manager era, basically, SAR did have SAR moderators. However, most of them didn't do jack shit. Most of them legit weren't even playing the fucking game. Especially when I had joined. There were some that did play, and were kind of actively playing when Season 1 dropped, which was like the global console release. But otherwise, where the fuck did they go? Like, fucking nowhere. Like, they were nowhere to be fucking found. And so, it was just a fucking constant frustration. Because it should not have to be like that at all. But it was. And that contributed to a lot of the issues. Which, again, it did not help a single bit whatsoever. But, unfortunately, we were dealt a shit hand. Now, with that out of the way, it was into Katie's era. And, you know, again, like, Katie was apparently doing some stuff as community moderator and stuff. Manager and stuff like that, and yada yada yada. You know, things were kind of going great, but at the same time, you know, you still have to air a caution to the wind that this community manager could still fuck up just as bad as Logan. Point proven. In today's sort of era of SAR now, with all that's gone on. But for the time, like, nothing too major basically happened. Except for the fact that, Shaved Throne, who he is rather infamously notorious for his Sean Diddy Combs allegations, I'll put it that way, which were confirmed, which were put out there, but the main person who was responsible for this ended up getting full-on exiled for basically speaking the truth and showing the truth. Now, the video got taken down because of the music material that was used in it was not so YouTube friendly, so YouTube basically said, hell no, we're not gonna put this on our platform, let's shut that shit down in an instant. And so all that is lost, including the channel. The channel is also completely nuked. However, there are clips out there from another person who we will eventually get into that did end up showing the video on one of his past streams, which is now saved and is documented. But there's still the problem. Someone who was trying to do right, and actually it was multiple people that was trying to do right and exposing this issue, were basically shunned out of existence. Quit the game, left, no longer wants anything to do with the community no more. It seems like we're getting to a great fucking pattern, aren't we? Well, it only gets worse from here, but obviously Shaved Throne, like, he pretty much was basically made to be like the lol cow of the community. But we're also missing the bigger picture that, you know, you have a moderation team who still let him play the game, but also the fact that he made like copious reports over stream sniping and shit like that. But like, I'm not gonna get into those details because, like, at this point, I can't be fucking arsed to hear about more Shaved Throne drama. I've already heard way too much, and it already fucking pissed me off a lot in the past. Just having to hear it over and over, like, yes, I get it. I get it. He did this, he did that. Yada, yada, yada. Shut the fuck up. I know. I know he's a bad person. I know he's a problem. Do something. Oh, wait, you already tried. And it failed. It fucking failed. And it's because the fucking community manager said so. And on top of that, he was still already doing like false reportings and reporting for stream sniping, got people like banned and shit. For like temporary. It wasn't permanent, but like temporary. But still, that's a fucking problem. And yet they still don't fucking understand, do they? You can't just fucking sit on your ass, just look at the computer screen and go, and do nothing. You have to do something. You have to fucking do something about it. Because otherwise, it's going to further damage your reputation and further damage the community's trust that was already lacking the very moment Logan had his fucking fingers on the damn community moderation position. And yet, we're supposed to concede rather, to the fact that we're supposed to not care? Like, I'm sorry, but are you fucking mad? Are you loco? Have you gone loopy, lost it in your fucking heads? Like, I get that the other higher-ups, like, they're already, like, focused on other stuff, but you've already fucked up, like, marketing for other shit in the game. You literally had a PC Gamer cosmetic magazines thing going on that was only in the UK, but you could have internationalized it by, like, announcing it in your own Discord server, which, by the way, they didn't even do that. And this shit went under the rug for, like, 4 fucking months before it was finally exposed that this actually was a thing. And on top of that, they didn't say a fucking word. It was the magazine company itself that did so. But only the UK players got wind of it. And that's why it was only eventually exposed, because people started taking notice of Mango. Because Mango used to be a moderator. He actually used to be pretty active in his time. But he no longer plays the game. I don't even think he's a moderator anymore for Super Animal Royale, but I think he might still be. I don't know. I don't know if he stepped down. This is just complete speculation, because I have no fucking clue. And so we had to think, like, what exactly is going on here? Like, why did it end up being this way? And so, like, it still begs the question, what the fuck are we doing? You know? And on top of that, why is nothing being done to remedy such a catastrophic mistake? Which, by the way, this catastrophic mistake basically made the whole code and the cosmetics that exist for the 6 items in question cost like a couple $100 to like a few $100 or higher. Just because of scarcity alone and the fact that this basically went like under the rug. And yet we're fucking crazy for talking down on Pixile over the fact they completely botched one bit of that marketing. And by the way, there's way more marketing failures that they did, but, like, there is so much to talk about that, like, even I'm probably forgetting, like, some of the details as is. But at the same time, like, there's just too much details to actually, like, recall and, like, tell, but it's pretty obvious that, like, their marketing is pretty lackluster in the first place. And so it just ended up becoming a major fucking problem. And it only became more of a fucking issue, like, as time progressed. And nowadays, you have basically this new update. And, like, this is the most recent example of the new update. This new update was supposed to basically be the big thing. 350 quests, a whole bunch of NPCs, all this kind of shit. But what did we get? Not even close to 350. Like, at best, close to 100 quests. Otherwise, like, it was basically fuck all. And so, you know, it was already bad enough, and plus Pixile had worked on that update for like 2 straight years. So it was already an issue with the fact that it took this long before we finally got something that was like ready-made available. We did get like previews and stuff, but that was it. Just previews, teasers, and the removal of the super juicer, which, by the way, I don't know why anyone cares for it. I didn't care for it. It was a pretty terrible concept, and it overcomplicated what already existed in the game without it in its existence. So, like, why? I get they were trying to experiment with something new, but it was a complete and utter flop. Let's be real. It was a complete and utter flop. But, you know, there's also shit like when they added the BCG. The BCG on launch was pretty shit. I'll be honest. It was kind of pretty shit, but honestly, I would prefer the current... Like, I would prefer the day 1 launch of the BCG than what we have in current day. Because current day BCG is the fucking worst thing in existence. Well, I'd say it's the second worst. Worst is actually before they slightly nerfed the damage for the BCG. Because it used to be a guaranteed 2-shot kill from a pretty good range on the legendary version. And that was bad. And it really ruined playing SAR for me personally. And so, like, to this day, I still hate the weapon. And even with high ping, it is so fucking bad. Like, I'm being serious. It is fucking bad. And yet people want to think I'm crazy or I'm the fucking dumb one. Like, how about you go see what the fuck this game functions on its own? Like, we are in the era where the game's not only getting really unstable, but also the fact that it's completely fucked up. And so, because we used to not have stuff like bot desync, packet loss, random ass server DCs for no fucking reason whatsoever. I mean, yeah, it might maybe happen very rarely, but not in the state that people were experiencing today. And again, it was just a big fucking problem. Like, you just think it would have been much easier just to, like, upgrade servers and shit, but the thing is, Pixile Studios itself is not that big, and not to mention they had Modus, which also further complicated things. But at the same time, I feel like they still could have done better with their game. But back on the moderation thing, because I'm going more into like the game itself than actually the main issue, the meat and potatoes. But I'm just getting onto the appetizer. Like, we're not even on the entree. I'm just talking about like the appetizer side piece that, like, it's just to get started. Although, not really. But realistically, like, coming into it, like, Katie was already, like, again, she was kind of doing some stuff right, but she also wasn't. And that already made me kind of, like, have some sort of personal issues with her, even though, like, I had never contacted her or been around her at all at the time, starting out, when I came back. But at the same time, like, the stuff that she was doing really rubbed me the wrong way, because, no offense, she was pulling what Logan was doing. And it was getting more and more obvious that it was starting to be like that. Also, GG's, I wish I could get that. Anyways. But yeah, she was just basically pulling what Logan was doing. And basically just kept fucking up. And so people already didn't have high opinions of community manager Logan. So with Katie being the new part of the fray, obviously there's going to be some issues with that, because we never know if this is someone that we could put our trust in to actually also help manage our community and actually do better than what Logan did in his time. Even though technically Logan is still at the company, so like, what the fuck. But you get the point. The thing that honestly kind of like sparked a lot was early into 2025 when I made that big stream, because Katie was starting to make me more and more angry with her over time, because like the stuff that she was doing was starting to get more and more ludicrous and a bit ridiculous to a T. And I eventually was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna make this stream on Twitch. I put on the title, Katie is a bitch, smiley face. Oh yes, I did that. And I don't regret that one bit. Honestly, that day was probably the most fun I had ever had on Super Animal Royale in my entire history of playing the game. Straight up, it really was. Even though I kind of lost my mind and definitely was getting a bit loopy, at that moment, I just did not care. All that care went right out the window when I started that stream. And the longer it continued, the more I was so into it. And so what culminated was probably the craziest 2 hours on Twitch, as I actually reached like a pretty high viewer count simply because I had Katie is a bitch on the title, and there were definitely people messaging Katie in specific about what I did. But at the time, I didn't give a fuck. I gave 0 fucks. When I put my all into that stream, like I said, no regrets. No fucking regrets. And to this day, I still don't regret it. Because it had to be done. What was necessary had to be done. A means to an end. And so, the stream. And like I said, I didn't care. So, I got away with doing something so mind-bogglingly crazy, and I made it work. Yeah, I got like my Twitch account banned for like a week, but I didn't care. I was like, ah, fuck it. I don't care. I had my fun that day. I ordered some Chinese food. Relieved myself a little bit. I felt good. I felt good, brother. I felt good. Sorry. I'm pushing my old accent back. I have to push my old accent back. I gotta be this me. But yeah, like I really felt good that day. Even after that, like I was so fucking hyped up and shit. Like it really was like the most eye-opening thing and the most like freeing experience. Like you have no idea like just how freeing it is just to not have to worry about anything in that moment. And I was able to truly express how I felt. And overall, like, just all that resentment that I felt towards the community managers, both of them. Like, you know, like in that moment it came out. Obviously Logan wasn't community manager, but still, like, I had a lot of my own personal beef with the Pixile team, but it was mainly focused on her and Logan. And of course, fucking Arga, by the way, Arga, you can shut the fuck up. Your partner ran away, all because I used red text in one of my Discord messages. And you wanted to play Devil's Hater or Devil's Ass Kisser over some dumb shit that literally didn't matter at all. It's saying I'm fucking delusional for doing that kind of shit, this and that, and also spoon-feeding what you thought about me. Which, by the way, you're a complete fucking retard. Yes, I said it. You're a complete fucking retard. And I'm glad you're gone. Stay the fuck away. Anyways, back to the point of the video. I did the whole stream. Did the 2 hours. Obviously, Twitch ban, all that kind of shit. But again, I didn't care. I had all that fun, and I enjoyed every last second of it. And I went about my day, and that was all she wrote. Eventually, I joined a tournament. I think it was around that time. Yeah, it might have been around that time. I actually joined like my first ever SAR tournament. And that was when me and Katie did eventually talk. And we did talk things out. And we actually ended up having a more positive connection. Who would have thought? A bit of a redemption arc. And, in fact, Katie eventually got better at her job. She actually listened. She actually took care of the problems that needed to be taken care of. There was still the one thorn in everyone's side that was still glaringly obvious. Shaved Throne. Because he was still obviously causing a ruckus around the servers and in the game. But obviously, to a degree, to some point, with how much hate and backlash he got, because of course, obviously a lot of it, well, 99.9% he did deserve. To some degree, there is a line that you need to not overstep to ensure your ass doesn't get fucking sniped by the mafia. And unfortunately, people cross that line quite a bit. Like, more than I bet they'd be willing to admit. Not everyone, but a decent chunk of people have. But that's also why I eventually just got like tired of hearing about Shay Throne and all his fucking drama, because at that point it was just not worth it having to deal with that bullshit. And so, I think I could have went there. I could have went to the exit, but you know what? To hell with it. I can challenge myself. But yeah, like, some people crossed a bit of a line, and obviously, like, they got what they deserved. And of course, obviously, people got pissed, but of course, you know, to a degree, like, they did have a right to be pissed. But at the same time, like, they should have at least seen it coming. So it's not exactly black and white. Like, there was still quite a bit of a gray area when it came to that. And so, like, obviously, yes, I think he still plays the... I don't even know if he actually still plays the game. I think he does, but, like, way, way less now. But in terms of, like, today, I mean, obviously he has Roblox, so like he can focus on that, but obviously someone's gonna be like following him over there. But I digress. I digress. But nowadays, like, personally, like, hold on, let me focus here for just a second. But yeah, like nowadays, like, yeah, he doesn't seem all too interested in SAR as much as like you would probably think. So in some degree, it's kind of on that. But you know, like I said, like Katie eventually was on her redemption arc still. Like obviously, yes, there's still shapes of her own, but you know, she was on the up. She was actually on the up and up. And you know, to some degree, like, it helped repair a little bit of what people had towards Pixile because, you know, there was someone that actually was starting to care and did care at one point. But then we get to people like Fast Potex. Let's see, Fast Potex, a SAR player, and account error in specific. Now, for those in the know, obviously, account error is a big piece of shit. And yes, he's a bit of a freak. Obviously, I'm being a bit hypocrite when I say that, because obviously you could say that about me, but I am nowhere near as freaky as him, and I do it in my own time. I don't get no one involved, because it's my business. I keep my business to myself. And so, like, there was a lot with that counter, and obviously he already started, like, he was kind of okay, but also pretty weird, very fucking weird. And even the stuff like you could probably like find on like his own stream archives and shit like that, like it's painfully obvious, like it's pretty painfully obvious that like there was definitely like a lot more freaky shit going on than he was letting on. And so it eventually just like culminated over time. And that's until the eventual reveal that he was trying to get with another player who was younger, which was all confirmed. And so we eventually had to get stuff in place and send it to developers. Well, to the community managers and the mod team and stuff like that. Because, you know, it was a pretty big fucking deal. Like, he became a problem. Now, I think at some point, like, Katie started to go a bit downhill again, but it wasn't, like, unreparably bad. Like, it was starting to get there again, but, like, it wasn't, like, a complete fuck-up. Until, like, the eventual expose came out of account error in specific on, like, the shit that he did. And, you know, like, obviously there were the other problematic players, too, and that also dowered the mood in the community because, you know, we're now getting even more problematic people causing problems in the game, in the community. And so it just got worse. Like, it genuinely it started to get worse again. But then, for some reason, by the time we did get to like the whole point of, okay, this video is going out, he is being exposed, it is done, it is fucking wraps. All of a sudden, it's now a problem for us to be doing this whole expose. Like, okay? And so, it really immediately sparked massive red flags all over the place about who the hell exactly is our community manager doing. Like, who exactly is our community manager thinking they are by being like that? To say that what we did was basically invalid. And again, it pissed a lot of people off. And so that started a pretty big wave of negativity. And on top of that, a lot, and I mean a lot of backlash towards Pixile as a company. And in Katie in specific. And the statements that she would go on to say became so nefarious that it ultimately shattered what remaining trust anyone had in Katie and the entire Pixile team. Besides, obviously, well, not the entire Pixile team, but basically all the community-focused ones that were supposed to help manage, supposed to listen to our problems, including the other SAR moderators. But in specifically, Katie, for basically shutting down the whole document that, and I'll even say this, I also was a part in the document, but my part did get removed. And obviously there's many reasons for that, but I won't say anything. If Sayets wants to, he can reveal that. But, you know, it's out of our hands now. Like we already got what we needed to get across. But, you know, it really fucked with a lot of stuff. And fucked with a lot of us. And it really destroyed what little reputation and what little community there was left, hoping that something could be done. And what eventually followed was obviously all the backlash. Like, it was bad. Like that, at that point, it was irreparably bad. And it was crystal clear. Like, you didn't need to have me say it. Oh, it was fucking crystal on that. And so there was no other reason to just simply put our trust in Pixile no more, because they completely fucked us again. But again, even though I blanket Pixile in all of this, it's the specifics. It's the specifics that became the issue. Not the whole company. It was the specifics. And that's what we gotta focus on. It's the specifics. Because if we don't focus on specifics and we blanket everyone into one group, then obviously there's gonna be problems. There's gonna be information mishaps going on and shit that probably won't sit well. And some people would probably get unnecessary flack for no fucking reason. Although technically there is a lot of reason. There's a lot of genuine concern. But the overall consensus of it? It's the ones that run it that hurt us the most. And that's where the focus is primarily towards. Now, I don't know how Pixile in general is even going to recover from it, especially with the whole 2-year absence of an update, which also killed more of the community than it helped. Yes, we brought some people back when the community update did drop, but newsflash, all your fucking players left after like a month. Those numbers were good for like a month and they were gone. So what exactly did it achieve? It was a temporary boost to a long-term issue that was in play well before the update dropped and has been in play. But when you have, again, SAR moderators and a community manager that sat on their fucking ass, and by the way, what is the fucking excuse of saying, but we don't have enough people to moderate our game and service, we don't have the resource? Then get more fucking moderators, you fucking tard. Do you know what hiring new people and getting rid of the slack is? Even I know, and I work at a fast food joint, if you cut slack and get hard workers, you get a pretty damn good run restaurant. Believe me, I know. Because I'm in the fucking trenches every time I go there. And I know. So don't come at us with this fucking bullshit ass excuse of you don't have enough moderators. How about you get rid of the 20 out of your 30 SAR moderators you have in your fucking Discord and hire new ones. Ones that are active. Ones that are in... And I'm going to say this very fucking clearly. Get SAR moderators in every single region that you can. We should not be having moderators non-existent in fucking South America of all places. And then have your fucking Pixile developers on their random ass test accounts show up in South America solos while I'm on and playing, doing some random shit for one game and then disappear. Like, what are you playing? Like, what are you testing? That, and I'm being genuine because there was an account called Test It. Test It. Meaning that they were testing something in my fucking lobby. And they killed 2 bots with a Magnum and then died. I remember that match very vividly because I took a photo of that person that night. So what the fuck are y'all doing? And saying you don't have enough resources. Fuck the whole Pixile team having people. Y'all have people at Pixile. Get fucking SAR moderators. Get rid of the ones you fucking have that don't even play the game. I literally bet you that almost all of your SAR moderators you have in your fucking Discord don't even talk in the last 6 months. And the only ones that actually did were literally because of the update. Like, find me any SAR moderators in the year before the fucking Super Animal World expansion had actually fucking said anything. Because I'm willing to bet you 90% of them were fucking inactive. Or not even playing your fucking game. So don't come at us with this bullshit ass excuse, Katie. Being as you're a former school teacher, I don't know why you don't care about protecting children in your fucking game. But why the fuck are you giving us this bullshit excuse? Like, SAR moderators don't even get fucking paid. They don't get paid for this. It's a fucking hobby. It's like being a administrator and a moderator or a verifier on speedrun.com. And trust me, I am someone that is all three of those. Even though, yes, I'm technically retired from my speedrunning days, from specifically like the Finance and Freddy's community, because that's what I mainly was running in the past, but point still stands. I was someone like that, but I retired. But I still give resources and help to newer moderation or current moderation that wants to expand and actually work on the shit that needs to be worked on. Even though I'm retired, I still have access to some shit that people need access to, and I give it to them immediately. I'm not inactive. Even though technically I am, I'm still somewhat active in actually doing my part in actually giving resources whenever the people ask for it. And I still help with the fucking Discord from time to time, especially when it comes to bot accounts and shit. Even though we have our own server verification process and shit like that, obviously it's not going to get all the bots. But point still stands. What is that bullshit of not having enough moderation or resources? Like, get the fuck out of here. It is the most useless bullshit and the most asinine little petite pussy excuse you could ever give to anyone in this community. Because like-minded people know that's bullshit. That's the bullshit answer. We know it, what you said is basically not the actual truth. That's the bullshit answer. The true answer is you actually didn't fucking care to fix that shit in the first place. Even though you claim you do. But you used to. But then you stopped. So what made you stop caring then? Was it ignorance? Was it malice? Was it bemusement? Are we finally learning that Pixile is very incompetent at their own moderation skills? Like, I'm trying not to be so fucking hard, but unfortunately I have to. Because if no one's gonna kick in the front door, who the fuck is? And so, that's why you have all these videos out there. And also, by the way, I fucking hate this ship. This evasion's gotta be super fucking high. And it's actually kind of pissing me off that I can't hit this ship right now. But, back on the topic at hand. Like, what the fuck are we doing here, Pixile? Oh shit, no. Well, god fucking damn it, I just lost my weapon guy. But, okay. But anyways, like, what the fuck are we doing here, Katie? Seriously, what in the fuck are we doing here? If we're having to fall back to that excuse. To being the answer to our current issues in the game. Because last I checked, that's not a fucking answer that's good enough for the people. And you know what's even worse? That answer is such bullshit you can make perfect for a politician. Not even fucking exaggerating. That kind of bullshit answer would make you a perfect politician. In today's world. And today's world is already full of shit. So go figure. But the fact that we're having to be given these kinds of bullshit answers does not clarify anything. And in fact, it only just makes you look worse. It makes you look stupid. And so now we gotta be like, what the fuck are we gonna do? We can't rely on our community people at Pixile because they are full of shit and aren't helpful. But if we try to do anything that implies any sort of justice to the players who are affected, we're fucking affected. And not the actual problematic people in question. And then on top of that, we get action taken on us for doing so. Quite the fucking confidence boost, don't you think? And it's already bad enough your community is dying, so whatever little community you had left, you're basically fucking killing it in real time. In 4K. No, actually not even in 4K, in 8K and 16K ultra wide HD. And we're talking about we don't have some fucking resources type of shit. Fuck that shit. Like, if you need resources, call up the government. They'll give you your resources. They have plenty of resources to give you help. You need money, you need food, you need emergency hotline, we got it. But clearly, you don't got it. Otherwise, you wouldn't be giving us this fucking bullshit. And again, this community resentment would have just never happened if you fucking did your job. And again, how were you a former school teacher and you were doing this shit? If your old employers knew and your old coworkers knew the kind of shit you said and pulled, they would have fucking buried you to the dirt. Then let you continue being a teacher. But then again, that's how Jeffrey Epstein got his upbringing, so fuck us, I guess. But at the same time, like, where's the drive? Where's the commitment? Where's the focus? Because again, it fails to see itself. And clearly you failed to actually not do what you said you was not going to do, which was do the same mistakes as what Logan did. Except not only did you do exactly what Logan did, you did it 10 times worse and 10 times more catastrophic and basically unrecoverable. How the fuck did we manage that in our course of history? Like, I genuinely would like to know. Because it makes no fucking sense. It makes no sense that we've gone down to this level of disappointment. And it's such a fucking shame. Because so many people that I knew don't even want to play the game anymore. They don't even want to look in the game's direction or even hear a word about it. That's how disgusted they feel over it. And that is a fucking shame. And that's why that whole stream of me calling you a bitch, Katie, was 100% justified. Because it foreshadowed an eventual downfall, not into grace, but into disappointment. At this point, I'm not even pissed. I'm just so fucking disappointed. You hurt what could have been a pretty great game. And you fucking foiled it into the fucking ground. You burnt it. You fucked it. And it is absolutely destroyed. And I don't even know if there's a way back from this one. As much as I would try to hope. I don't even know where we would go from here. But all that happened. It's a fucking shame. And the worst part is that game should never go that far down to end up like that. It should never have to be that way. But unfortunately, it did. And there's no going back on that. And the thing is, again, like, the heads of Pixile, outside of the whole community aspect, they're not even involved in this. But they have to. Because it's their game. It was their project. And you fucking hurt that. Not just you. You weren't the sole responsible one, mind you. But you still contributed a big chunk of it to the point that you make Logan look somehow tame in comparison. And I hate even saying that, because he really ain't. He's off doing his church cow ASMR, and you expect people to somehow take a wider approach on that? Really? Like, again, it's out there. Anyone can literally see that, and other players who, old and new, who probably are in his own Discord server, have seen this shit. And yet, we're the ones out of control? Like, yes, you're adults, you can do things in your own time, but there is a fucking limit to what you could do. Like, you're supposed to represent a community. In a professional business, you're supposed to be like the representative. Like, you may be one person in that representation, but overall you have a much greater impact with what you do, what you say, and how effectively you do your fucking job. And that matters a whole lot more than you think it does. This isn't us crying because you did nothing. This is a cry for help for something that should have been addressed a long time ago and should have never went on. But unfortunately, we got someone who basically fucking pussyfooted the back door on the whole thing. And thus, we're now in the situation we're in now. And again, more could have been done. More could have been done. But it ain't being done. And so we end up having this lame duck ass team against a split community. And especially with F8's era, he already split the community back then. But in today's SAR, you basically contributed to another split. And that'll kill you. Like, that kind of shit will kill your game in a heartbeat. And again, so many of us spent a lot of our time, a lot of our money. We put all of that investment into this game, and we got fuck all to show for it now. Because there's no people. The game is falling apart. The community is falling apart. Besides the fact that it's dead. But also, just the utter fact that there is literally nothing we can do to fix that. There was so much potential in this. And it's all gone. Why? And for what? And you know, many of us question it every day. Like, was it really worth our time to be doing this for that long? It just doesn't make sense. Like, it really doesn't. It really, truly, honestly doesn't. Because this should have never happened in the first place. If you did your job, did what you were supposed to fucking do, none of this would have happened. If you just gotten rid of the problem, you would have instantly improved this community by a fuck ton. You would have saved so much trauma and everything else in between. And he didn't do that. You're literally the indie game equivalent to what the fuck Roblox is doing. Child endangerment in your own community. And this has happened, at least from my knowledge, at least a half a dozen confirmed cases of problematic people being the ones endangering children. With however many victims there is. But you don't want to take action because the evidence isn't 100%. If there's actionable intel on that, why question with such major scrutiny? Yes, to a point, it has to be. But you also have to realize, if you literally had to force someone who had to basically make an account because their family would have said no, because they already reported the problem, not to you guys, but to whoever or whomever. And then you also have such big doubts, but then you have that person come to you, to your face, and give everything that was told in that document, and then did fuck all still after the fact. And that's the kind of shit people got pissed with on top of your statement. You did nothing. Like, who wins? Who the fuck wins? No one won. There are no winners. Everyone lost. Even you, Katie. You lose. And do you think that trying to backpedal now, try to fix the problem, will make it all come back to life? No. Because it doesn't fucking matter anymore. You already altered the course of history by letting problematic people get away on your platform. And that is why you're the face of the community manager we know now as the one in that image by Kunatsuyu supports pedos. And you think any sort of redemption is going to work now? It's never going to now. Because it's already far too late. And nothing's going to be done about it. Because now you're banning and silencing everyone that tries to speak out about it against you. And actively pokes fun at you because you're the one that caused the issue. You caused it to get worse. I didn't cause it to get worse. Sayetz didn't cause it to get worse. You did. You did, Katie. And how are we going to tell the children of the parents... How are we going to tell the parents of the children who were affected from this game that this was actively known information about problematic people and pedophilia going on in their own game with a dev team that basically swept it under the rug? How happy do you think the people would be then? Like, if you have not seen what happened to Roblox and their fucking asses getting sued by both state and federal governments of the United States, you're gonna be the indie game version of that fucking problem. And what's stopping us from doing a fucking lawsuit? If people start doing lawsuits against you guys, who the fuck's gonna save you then? Not God. Not the fucking Wicked Witch of the West. It'll be no one. Besides your fucking lawyer. Or lawyers. Don't know how many you would have in your own company there at Pixile, but... You actively contributed to your own downfall. Time and time again. Yes, some players actively help be a part of that downfall, but the lack of any help in doing anything that would have been right for this community is what caused it to go down the way it did. And so now we're stuck here with a never-ending problem of what exactly are we going to do with a game that is basically on its last legs, where most of the support team that there is won't be able to do shit because you have basically a few bad apples that spoiled the whole bunch. Like, where else do we go from that? Because we can't do anything to fix the problem anymore. That ends up being on you. But because you already made such a completely irresponsible decision, that fault is now back to you. And the only way that can fix it is you yourselves. Because we're certainly not gonna keep fucking dealing with this kind of shit. We dealt with enough of it with F8. And y'all did nothing with F8 back then. So why the fuck should we be lenient towards you now, Katie? To a degree we did. To a degree we did at one point. But then, when you started becoming an aggressive bitch again, of course we had to fucking complain. Like, why wouldn't we? Like, we the players play your game, be active in your part of the community because we enjoyed the game. We had fun, we enjoyed the game, we did all of this. Spent money, made friends, did a whole bunch of other shit. And again, what do we get the show for it? It really was a spit in our face type of moment. And again, with your statement and shit, all the responses that you said ever since people pressed you and you left the server, by the way, like, how could we not shit on you for that? Like, that kind of response was so damn shameful. It really was. And it still is to this day. But yet, we're treated like we're the problem makers now. Or we're the troublemakers. But, you know, we're trying to fucking help. But you don't want that help. You want to shut it down. And do it your own way. But, hate to break it to you, sweetheart. It don't work like that. The way you're doing sucks. And it don't work. None of it works like that. And yet we're supposed to concede to that. And again, you're out of your fucking mind if you think that trying to silence us one way is going to completely stop us from actively going against you and your rhetoric. Like, none of it works like that. And again, we're not supposed to be given this fucking bullshit of you can't do a damn thing in the game or whatever else because you say, oh, it's outside of the game, it's not our fucking problem. Yes, it is your fucking problem. It's part of your community. It's part of your fucking community. If you want to do your fucking loophole bullshit, I can do what I did with that second Twitch stream where I actively called you out as a bitch. Not on the stream title, but actively saying it on stream. Because you deserved it. For that reason alone. And it won't stop us. Like, you're not going to fucking silence us because you have a problem with how we saw you view fixing the problems in your own game. And a reminder, you were a former player. You actually used to be a normal player just like the rest of us. Before you became part of the Pixile team. What the fuck changed between then and now that you allow that? Please make it make sense, Katie. Because right now, I can't make fuck all worth of sense out of this hieroglyphics bullshit that you're going on about. I don't know, man. It's just one big fucking disaster. But honestly, what else can we do? Besides the big project that will be coming out, exposing everything. Because at this point, the gloves are off. In Pixile, you need to do better. There's a lot of fucking work to be had. And it starts with you. Because if you don't fucking wake up, it will never happen. And then the game is going to be gone. And obviously you don't want that. Anyways, that's about all I want to fucking say. Because, quite frankly, I'm tired of talking. And my throat hurts. Anyways. See you, hopefully, in a better video. This is Chef Killer, and I'm signing out. Peace.